It started on a quiet morning, the kind where sunlight cut sharp lines across the garage floor and every tool was aligned with military precision. For once, life felt calm. Then came the sound, heavy boots on concrete, the wrong rhythm for my neighborhood. I turned, and 3 men filled the doorway like actors walking onto a stage. Their uniforms caught the light, patches gleaming, radios hissing with static. At first glance, it looked official, but my chest tightened. Years of military service teach you to notice the details others miss. And these men were full of cracks. The tallest stepped forward, puffing his chest. His badge gleamed like something from a costume shop. "Sir, we're here under HOA security regulations. We'll need access to your firearms immediately." My eyes narrowed. Fabric too thin, insignias too shiny, boots too clean. The swagger, pure civilian cosplay. They thought I'd roll over, hand them the keys to generations of family legacy. But one glance told me everything. These weren't officers. They were pretenders, and they had just walked into the wrong garage. The leader held up a clipboard stacked with papers, his hand trembling slightly, though he tried to mask it with authority. Neighborhood safety regulations, firearm compliance checks, subdivision protocols, he rattled off, like he'd memorized a script the night before. The other 2 flanked him. One barked fake radio chatter into a dead mic, codes that almost sounded real but missed the rhythm. The third scanned the garage like a predator circling prey, his eyes fixed on my gun safe against the far wall. I crossed my arms. "Funny," I said calmly. "In Afghanistan, I learned real lawmen don't use paper from an inkjet printer." The tall one stiffened. His voice cracked, and then it hit me. That face. I'd seen it before, not in uniform, not in law enforcement. No, it was on television. Bennett's Bargain Beds. The cheesy commercial with the jingle and a man dancing with an oversized pillow. My lips curled. "Aren't you the mattress guy?" I asked, stepping closer. Color drained from his face. His partners froze, like deer caught in headlights. 1 second he was officer authority. The next he was Troy Bennett, local salesman caught red-handed in a Halloween costume. The charade was unraveling, and I wasn't done yet. Before Troy could stumble out an excuse, another voice cut in. Sharp, confident. Diane Carter, the HOA president, marched down my driveway like a general commanding troops. She crossed her arms and glared at me with all the authority of someone who had never worn a real uniform. "Grant Hayes," she announced loudly, making sure every neighbor within earshot could hear. "If you won't cooperate with our security team, I'll have no choice but to call the police." Her phone was already in hand. And then came the kicker. She pulled up a video. A clip of me cleaning my rifles yesterday, but cleverly edited so it looked like I was pointing them out the garage door, threatening the street. Gasps rippled through the neighbors who'd started gathering. Phones lifted. Whispers spread. The narrative was being twisted right in front of me. I raised my voice so everyone could hear. "Creative editing, Diane. Hollywood might hire you, but that's not a threat. That's maintenance." Still, the doubt in their eyes stung. I could feel the tide turning against me, not because of facts but because of fear. And Diane knew exactly how to play that game. That was the moment my training snapped into place. Calm, deliberate, automatic. Afghanistan taught me one thing: counterfeit authority kills if you let it. I pulled out my phone, camera rolling, every second documented. "Gentlemen," I said, planting my boots and squaring my shoulders with command presence. "Step away from my property immediately." The tallest one tried to push back, gesturing toward my safe. "Neighborhood protection requires compliance." His voice cracked mid-sentence. I let the silence linger, then laughed. "Those radios? Dead air. That paperwork? Forged. Those badges? Stage props from a cereal box. You're impersonating officers, and that's a federal crime." The nervous one shuffled his papers faster, sweat dripping. The linebacker muttered into his fake radio, but it was desperation, not command. "Here's how this is going to work," I continued, my voice steady, projecting to the crowd now gathering at the end of my driveway. "You leave, or you wait here with me until real police arrive. And trust me, When they do, they'll know the difference between a soldier's discipline and a salesman's costume. Gasps, murmurs, phones recording from every angle. The imposters shifted, their confidence shrinking under the weight of real authority. And then, faint but rising, the sound of sirens in the distance. I smiled. Looks like your backup's finally here. Only this time it's real. The cruiser rolled into my driveway with the kind of presence only genuine law enforcement carries. Doors opened. Boots crunched gravel. Officer Morrison stepped out, tall, sharp-eyed, scanning the scene like a man who'd seen enough to spot lies in seconds. His gaze swept across Troy's uniform, the flimsy insignias, the trembling clipboard. Then his eyes landed on me. My Army Command shirt, the way I stood rooted, calm but firm. Identification, Morrison ordered flatly. Troy puffed his chest again. Officer, we've secured the scene. This man is obstructing an HOA security investigation. The audacity almost made me laugh. Morrison's eyes narrowed. His hand hovered near his holster. Then he turned back to me, studying my face. Sergeant Major? He asked softly, almost like a test. Relief surged through me. That's right. The weight shifted instantly. Respect passed between two veterans, wordless but absolute. Morrison turned back to the imposters. You, papers. Now. They stuttered. They shuffled. They produced nothing but cheap props and sweat. Morrison's jaw tightened. His radio crackled with real dispatch chatter, crisp and authentic. The difference was night and day. You're done, Morrison said finally. His voice was steel. For the first time, the imposters stopped pretending. Their shoulders slumped. Their act was dead. Minutes later, the driveway became a command post. Detective Walsh arrived with a federal team, laptops open, scanners humming. This wasn't just a neighborhood squabble anymore. She flipped her tablet to show records. Months of messages between Diane and Troy, payments exchanged, firearm elimination projects, HOA intimidation plans. Neighbors gasped as the evidence spilled into daylight. This wasn't safety. It was a scheme. Mr. Hayes, Walsh said, her tone all business. You're not the only target. Our records show this operation has hit veterans in 6 states. 47 families, all harassed by phony enforcement. I clenched my fists. My garage wasn't a stage. It was one node in a national syndicate. The neighbors shifted uneasily. Diane paled but still tried to bluster. This is about community safety. Walsh silenced her with a glance. No, this is about profit and fear. The truth landed like a gavel. Cornered, Troy tried a desperate pivot. Look at him, he sneered, pointing at me. A combat veteran with PTSD stockpiling weapons. That's the real threat. The crowd murmured, unease flickering. That stigma, PTSD as danger, cut deep. I stepped forward, my voice breaking but steady. Yes, combat changed me. Yes, I have scars you can't see. But I've spent my life learning discipline, responsibility, restraint. Veterans aren't ticking bombs. We're trained protectors. Mrs. Henderson, my elderly neighbor, raised her voice. My son died in Afghanistan. How dare you use his sacrifice to attack another veteran? The shift was immediate. Murmurs turned to nods. Doubt turned to solidarity. Troy's smear campaign collapsed under truth. The fallout came fast. Troy was arrested, his syndicate dismantled across multiple states. Diane was charged with conspiracy and stripped of her HOA role. Federal prosecutors called it one of the largest impersonation schemes targeting veterans ever uncovered. The neighborhood transformed. New bylaws, oversight committees, signs once used for fear now replaced with banners quoting the Bill of Rights. And me? I stood in the same garage where it all began, looking at the cheap badges now displayed on the wall. Symbols of how fragile authority becomes when it's built on lies. Real authority doesn't need costumes. It needs truth. What started as 3 imposters in my garage became a federal case, a community reckoning, and a national lesson. Fear tried to masquerade as safety. Lies tried to wear uniforms. But real discipline, real service, real law, it cuts through the theater every time. Fake authority crumbled the moment real truth stood tall. So here's my question for you. If men like Troy showed up at your door, demanding your rights, would you hand them over? Or would you call their bluff? Tell me in the comments what you'd do. If you think this story deserves to be heard, hit that like button, share it, and help me keep building this channel. Stay sharp, stay free, and remember, sometimes the greatest battles aren't overseas. They're fought right in your own garage.